Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about my anticipated March releases. So I'm going to show you, we're going to get on my computer, we're going to go through, we're going to look at the March releases. Heads up though, Goodreads was giving me a hard time today. So it takes me a little while to get to the clips. I might edit a lot of that part out. But anyways, I will have all of the books linked in the description. So if you want to go and pre-order any of them, they will be there. If you know of any books that I missed in today's video that you think should be on my radar for March, definitely let me know down in the comments. But anyways, let's get to it. Here are the books coming out in March that are on my radar. These are the books that I am anticipating for March. Let's see if we can find them. Okay, that's working. Okay, so first up is Green and Deadly Things. Centuries ago, necromancy almost destroyed the world. That's how history remembers it. History remembers it wrong. Mathaic has trained all his life to join the sacred order of the Idalic Knights, charged with defending their world from the forces of necromancy. Only vestiges of that cursed magic remain, nothing like their fabled days of the Grim Lords, the undead wizards who once nearly destroyed the world. But when an even stranger kind of monster begins to wait, the knights quickly prove powerless to stop them. Whole forests are coming alive and devouring anyone so foolish as to trespass, as the land itself has turned upon humanity. It's a good thing, then, that the Grim Lords were never truly destroyed. One of their number sleeps below the knight's very fortress, and when an army of twisted tree monsters attacks the young initiates in his charge, Math decides to do the unthinkable. He wakes her up. This is only the beginning of his problems, because said necromancer Caetaris knows something history has forgotten. The threat of this wild magic is part of a cycle that has repeated countless times. Life after death, chaos after order. And if she and Math can't find a new way to balance the scales, this won't just be the end of the world as they know it, but the end of all life everywhere. Next up is the Library of Amerlin. This is what I'm talking about. This was working before. Here, let me show you if it will do it. And if it doesn't do it now because you're watching, I don't know what I'm gonna do. See, it's not me. It's Goodreads. Goodreads today is being odd. Okay. So I guess we'll just see what Google here says. The Library of Amerlin is an adult fantasy novel about a con artist, Kasira, who must infiltrate a magical library to earn her freedom from a fanatical kingdom. She takes a job as an assistant librarian, but her mission to destabilize the institution becomes complicated by her growing feelings for the mysterious librarian Alistair and the enchanting world of books and magical beasts within. The book features a slow burn romance twist and is the first in the Age of Beasts series. Next up are the March 10th releases. March 10th is my anniversary. Hey, it's working. Okay, so up first is How to Write a Love Story. In this one, an ambitious editor travels to Ireland to help the daughter of a fantasy author legend complete her father's final book, only to fall in love with her in the process. Her father has left her with three things: a sprawling and distinctly ramshackle estate on the Irish coast, the outline for the finale to his best-selling epic fantasy series that he wanted her to finish, and writer's block. Enter Sam Frank Sheridan, fanboy and hotshot editor. Sierra was expecting a crusty old-timer, so the handsome young American is a surprise. And for his part, Sam was expecting Sierra to have written something by now. Rom-com, books about books, Ireland, I am in. Sounds good to me. All right, next up is Nobody's Baby. Okay, so this is the second book in Dorothy Gentleman. I read the first book last year. This is like a cozy mystery series, but it's set in space. And they're short novellas. I actually got an arc of this, and I did myself a disservice because I requested the arc during a time where I did not have the time to read it. And so I've read the first like part of it, and I really, really want to know how it ends. So in this one, her nephew finds a baby, and they're in a spaceship. And so nobody's supposed to be able to get pregnant. And so they're like, how did this happen? And they're going to try to figure out, where this baby came from. Next up is Ruinous Creatures. Of course. Ruinous Creatures is a debut standalone romantasy featuring a unique magic system where humans siphon power from the skulls of magical creatures like phoenixes, dragons, and unicorns. The story follows Adela, a matcher who accidentally awakens two phoenix skulls, binding her fate to a stranger named Kian and forcing them to navigate their power, fated connection amidst political intrigue and danger in a magical valley. Is there more to it? Maybe I can get Goodreads to pull up. Okay. It says it's for fans of One Dark Window and T. Kingfisher, which is why I had to add this to my to read stack. Okay, so this changes things. It says that it's a woman who accidentally awakens the power to siphon magic from two phoenix skulls, binding her fate to a vengeful stranger and forcing them to navigate the devastating cost of their unbreakable bond. See, that sounds even better. I love it. And it comes out on my anniversary. Josh is buying me that. I'm already going to say. Also, I am just going to put this out there right now. If my novel is ever published, I want it known that I came up with the name Adela first. I started writing my book when I was in 5th grade, and her name has been Adela since the beginning, way back then, and I've got receipts. I can prove it. Anyways, I'm just kidding. Kind of. All right. Next up is No Friend to This House. If it will pull it up. Okay, good. No Friend to This House is an extraordinary reimagining of the myth of Medea from blah, blah, blah. This is what no one tells you in the songs sung about Jason in the Argo. This part of his quest has been forgotten by everyone but me. Jason and his Argonauts set sail to find the Golden Fleece. The journey is filled with danger for him and everyone he meets, but if he ever reaches the distant land he seeks, he faces almost certain death. Medea, priestess, witch, and daughter of a brutal king, has the power to save the life of a stranger. Will she betray her family and her home, and what will she demand in return? Medea and Jason seize their one chance of a life together as the gods intend, but their love is steeped in vengeance from the beginning, and no one, not even those closest to them, will be safe. It says it was first published September 11th, 2025, so I'm assuming it was originally indie published, and this is being trad published now. So good for her. I love to see that. Next up is. Sorry, we couldn't find this. Inamarata. Let me see where I've already done this once. Mother freaker. Okay, Goodreads, y'all got to get it together. Let's see if Penguin Random House can tell me what it's about. Okay. A decadently dark gothic fantasy for readers who love haunting atmospheres, morally tangled characters, and stories where love becomes doom. Once there was an island where the dead walked the earth, and 7 noble houses ruled by the arcane secrets of necromancy. A conqueror's blade brought them low, burning their libraries, killing their lords, and extinguishing their eldritch magic. But defiant against the new order stands the House of Teeth and its last living members, beautiful Morosia, the heiress to the house, and her cousin, the uncanny Lady Agnes. Though she has not spoken a word in 7 years, Agnes is the true carrier of the house's legacy, and she has her orders. She must recapture the secrets of death magic and avenge her family's fallen honor. She must arrange the betrothal of her beloved cousin Morosia to Luaprind, heir to the Conqueror's throne, for access to the forbidden library in his grotesquely grand castle. Revenge burns in Agnes's heart, but so do stranger passions, and it is Luaprin, the Golden Prince, who speaks to her soul. This passion is as treasonous as it is powerful, poisoning the kingdom's roots and threatening to tear the already shattered realm in two. For Agnes's final order is the gravest. She must not fall in love. So that one was on the 17th. The next two are also March 17th. Next up is Only Spell Deep. Only Spell Deep. Okay. It is a dark, atmospheric fantasy novel about a witch, Judith Cole, who is on the run after a magical accident killed her family and must confront her past when she's drawn into a secret coven in Seattle. The book is described as a mix of the craft, horror, and mythology, explores themes of generational trauma, feminine rage, and power. Judith Cole has always had certain uncanny abilities. When she arrived at Solidago, her grandfather's estate by the sea, she was forced to keep them secret. There she lived a harsh life under his rule and the haunting legacy of her great grandmother Aurelia, until the fateful day she ignited a fire within her with her magic. Wow. It was the last time she saw her family alive. Ooh. 17 years later, she is living in Seattle as Jude Clark and failing at life when she makes a last detour through her favorite bookstore, selecting a book to read as she waits to die. What? But when she pulls it from the shelf, an invitation to her for a clandestine midnight meeting slips out. Jude is quickly swept up into a world of secrets and magic, discovering a circle of powerful new companions led by the mysterious, enigmatic Arla. The source of their magic, Arla tells her, is a goddess trapped and bound that they call the Fathom. But Jude swiftly realizes Arla wants this power all to herself, and she's willing to kill for it. Terrified, Jude turns to Levi Orman, the handsome bookseller who's seen her at her worst. With his help, she begins a research journey that leads her from the crystal waters of the Mediterranean to the icy waves of Greenland and back. The house she swore to never return to, blah, 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 blah. That sounds good. Okay, also, remember, some of these have giveaways. Next up is Mayhem and the Mortal. Mayhem and the Mortal, yeah. A romantic fantasy novel about a woman named Zara who must cross a dangerous magical landscape called the Shallows to save her sister from a soul-devouring curse, hiring a roguish sorcerer assassin named Thane Valcor as her guide. I like that. Described as a dark, humorous adventure with elements of Dungeons and Dragons and the Wizard of Oz. Bam. There we go. A walking red flag anti-hero and a quest with a band of misfits. That's why this is on here. That all sounds great. Let's see if we can find more information. Maybe this will work. Okay, good. Also, there's a giveaway. Zara doesn't want to be a hero. She needs a weapon. To save her sister from the soul-devouring curse, she has to cross the Shallows, a nightmare landscape of ruined magic, shifting paths, and vicious creatures that eat people alive. Her guide, Thane Valcor, sorcerer, assassin, walking red flag. His name clears rooms. His magic kills quietly, and whatever he's really after, it's not salvation. He promises to help. He might even mean it. But Zara knows better than to trust a liar with a blade and ice in his veins. She just doesn't have a choice. Yeah, I want to read that too. Next up is, oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know why I keep trying it. Okay. Next up is Wolfworm by T. Kingfisher. Even though it says book by Ursula Vernon, it is written under her pen name, T. Kingfisher. It is set in 1899 North Carolina about a scientific illustrator, Sonia Wilson, who takes a job with a reclusive entomologist, Dr. Halder, and uncovers dark secrets involving his twisted research, local folklore, and body horror. The book blends historical fiction, Southern Gothic, and occult horror, focusing on themes of science, art, and the supernatural, with a slow burn build up to intense horror. I cannot wait to read this one. It was on Book of the Month that I saw that it was an add on. By the way, if you don't have Book of the Month, I always have my like affiliate link or whatever down in the comments so that you can join. And I think when you join, you get money off or you get your first book for $5 or something like that. I don't remember. But anyways, what I saw was this. It says, not for the faint of heart. This book is gruesome. And I don't know that I've ever seen that on a Book of the Month book. And like T. Kingfisher, like runs the gambit, like she has, now of course, it all kind of leans to be a little more gothic, a little bit more into the horror genre. Even when it's fantasy and it's doing the retellings like Hemlock and Silver and A Sorceress Comes to Call, there are still kind of those like horror elements. They're still kind of like creepy, but they're not really like gruesome. They're not that like scary. I think the first one in the Sworn Soldier series, What Moves the Dead, that one was a little bit creepy to me when it was talking about the rabbit or the hare or whatever, and like it was dead but it was like still moving or whatever, like that was like I found that creepy. I think this one's going to be really good. I can't wait to read this one. But what it says here is it's about an insect illustrator sketching a flesh burrowing fly. Next up, these are both on the 24th, by the way. Next up is Daughter of Egypt. And this is a historical fiction novel about two women separated by centuries, Lady Evelyn Herbert in the 1920s and the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Hatshepsut, both defying expectations in male dominated worlds. The story follows Evelyn's obsession with finding Hatshepsut's tomb, paralleling Hatshepsut's own story of adopting power. It blends high adventure, historical intrigue, and the pursuit of truth, exploring themes of ambition, legacy, and hidden history. Let's see if. No, it will not. See if we can get a little bit more in here. Oh, okay. So she's the daughter of one of the guys that discovered King Tut's tomb. Okay. Nearly 3,000 years earlier, another woman defied the expectations of her time, Hatshepsut, Egypt's lost pharaoh. Her reign was bold, visionary, and nearly erased from history. When Evelyn becomes obsessed with finding Hatshepsut's secret tomb, she risks everything to uncover the truth about her reign and keep valued artifacts in Egypt their rightful home. But as danger closes in and political tensions rise, she must make an impossible choice: protect her father's legacy or forge her own. Propelled by high adventure and deadly intrigue, Daughter of Egypt is the story of two ambitious women who lived centuries apart. Both were forced to hide who they were during their lifetimes, yet ultimately changed history forever. Okay, next up is The Governess's Guide to Spells and Managing Misfit Marquesses. Marquesses. Anyways, this is the second book in the Parasol Academy. I have not read book one, but I also marked it as want to read. I don't think they need to be read in order though. I think they follow different characters. So it says that it is for readers of India Holton and Heather Fawcett though, and both of those authors have had huge wins for me. It says Mary Poppins meets My Fair Lady in a feel good blend of cozy fantasy magic, historical romance, humor, Victorian era charm. Love that. Okay. Hermina Davenport can hardly believe the exploit she is about to attempt. To protect an orphan young viscount, the prim and proper governess feels she has no choice but to break the rules of the Parasol Academy handbook. When the lad's guardian is ruthlessly and when the lad's guardian, a ruthlessly ambitious explorer, ensorcelled by the evil Fey Queen, spirits him away on a dangerous North Pole expedition, Mina employs an invisibility spell to snatch him from the ship. But a magical misfire whisks Mina and her charge onto a different vessel, that of a ruggedly handsome Irishman, a strapping prizefighter from Dublin's back streets, and Mina finds she's at sea in more ways than one. Phineas O'Connell, Lord Kinsale, can no more explain the arrival of this English rose than he can adapt to his newly inherited title, though his disgruntled pet pug clearly has thoughts about this fair stowaway. But their enchanted encounter sparks an irresistible offer. Finn enlists the polished Miss Davenport to transform this misfit Marquess into a mannered gentleman ready for his seat in Parliament. No magic required, just enticingly intimate lessons in etiquette and elocution to smooth all his rough edges, including a stammer. But when enemies, both earthly and supernatural, past and present, threaten, a confrontation begins where Mina's nondescript umbrella is just one of her powerful weapons. I've got to read that. That sounds so good. Definitely need to go enter that giveaway. These also are on the 31st, by the way, so we got to wait a little while on those. Next up, oh my gosh. Speaking of historical fantasy, I also want to read The Geo-Magician, and that is a historical fantasy novel about a Victorian fossil hunter who discovers a baby pterodactyl and must protect it with the help of her estranged former fiance, a scholar from the male dominated Geomagical Society. The book blends paleontology, magic, and romance, exploring themes of science, faith, and gender in academia. Let me see if I can make Goodreads work. If not, we'll go to Penguin Random House. Ugh. When a Victorian fossil hunter discovers a baby pterodactyl, she vows to protect him with the help of a fellow scholar, her former fiance, in this enchanting and transporting historical fantasy. Mary Anning wants to be a geomagician, a paleontologist who uses fossils to wield magic. But since the Geomagical Society of London refuses to admit women, she's stuck selling her discoveries to tourists instead. Then an ancient egg hatches in her hands, revealing a lovable baby pterodactyl that Mary names Ajax. So cute. And she knows that this is a scientific find that could make her career if she's strategic. But when Mary contacts the society about her discovery, they demand to take possession of Ajax, of course. Their emissary is none other than Henry Stanton, a distinguished and infuriatingly handsome scholar, and the man who once broke Mary's heart. Mm. She knows she can't trust her fellow scholars who want to discredit her and claim Ajax for their own, but Henry insists he believes in the brilliant Mary and only wants to help her obtain the respect she deserves. Now Mary has a new mystery to solve that's buried deeper than any dinosaur skeleton. She must uncover the secrets behind the society and the truth about Henry. As her conscience begins to chafe against her ambition, Mary must decide what lengths she's willing to go to finally belong and what her heart really wants. I can't wait for that one. Love that. And next is Reign of Shadows and Endings, of course. Okay. And this is the first book in the Legacy series, a dark fantasy romance featuring fated mates, broken bonds, and a world with fae, dragons, and forgotten gods. It follows Tessalin Asura, a Fae woman chosen as a personal source for the Heir of Endings in the Dark Arius Kingdom, where she uncovers secrets and navigates a complex enemies to lovers relationship with the heir Theon. The book is known for its slow burn romance, complex characters, and cliffhanger ending. Of all the worlds and life they created, the gods favored their children the most, but with that favor came the fear that their legacy would one day become too powerful and overthrow them. Devrim was created, a realm hidden amongst the stars. The gods gave their legacy the best of all the worlds, and then they left, a sworn agreement to never return and to never interfere. Forced to a life of servitude, the Fae are required to provide for the legacy in more ways than one. Every 5 years, the eligible Fae are gathered for the selection and and assigned to serve in one of the six kingdoms. To be chosen as the personal source for a kingdom heir is the greatest honor, and for the first time in a millennia, all six kingdoms have heirs choosing a source. But their selections could tip the power balance a little too far. Tessalin Asura was as forgotten as the realm, but when she finds herself the personal source to the heir of endings, she winds up serving in the darkest kingdom of them all. The secrets within the Arius kingdom are meant to be learned and kept, but this was never the life she wanted. Fighting not only the fate thrust upon her, but the temptation to lose herself to desire, Tessa will do anything to escape her new destiny. Until she starts to realize maybe their world wasn't as forgotten as they thought, and maybe she's the reason why. Okay, so it is book one and it ends on a cliffhanger. I wonder though if it was indie published, if the other books already exist out there, like maybe on Kindle Unlimited or something like that. And last up is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. Yeah. Okay. The first book in the Maggie the Undying series. A new epic fantasy that blends portal fantasy with traditional fantasy elements, featuring a protagonist who finds herself in the world of a dark fantasy series she loves, but with the twist that she is unkillable. The story follows Maggie as she uses her knowledge of the book's plot to navigate a world of warlords, magic, and political intrigue, trying to save the characters she knows from their tragic fates while being pursued by many who want her dead, despite her immortality. So it says politics of Game of Thrones meets the world's spanning romance of Outlander. When Maggie wakes up cold, filthy, and naked in a gutter, it doesn't take her long to recognize Caer Torin, a city she knows intimately from the pages of the famously unfinished dark fantasy series she's been obsessively reading and rereading while waiting years for the final novel. Her only tools for navigating this gritty world of rival warlords, magic, and mayhem that was a question, sorry. Her encyclopedic knowledge of the plot, the setting, and the characters' ambitions and fates. But while she quickly discovers she cannot be killed, though many will try, the same cannot be said for the living, breathing characters she's coming to love. A motley band that includes a former lady's maid, a deadly assassin, various outrageous magical creatures, and a dangerously appealing soldier. Soon, instead of trying to get home, she finds herself enmeshed in the schemes and intentions of dueling princes, dukes, and villains, all while trying to save them and the kingdom of Relis from the way she knows their stories will end, in a cataclysmic war. Wow. Okay, yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, so like I said, I will have those books linked down in the description if you want to pre-order them from Amazon. So anyways, that's it for my anticipated March releases. If you know of any books coming out in March that you think I should check out, definitely let me know down in the comments. Hopefully Goodreads will have it together in time for us to do our April anticipated releases video. But anyways, that is it for this video. Hopefully I will be seeing you again to do my February reading journal spreads very soon. I've kind of been waiting so that I could just do it all together. And then I will do March set up pretty quickly after that. But anyways, hopefully I will see you in another video soon. Bye guys.